9:53, and you're just in time for another edition of News Tonight. Well, we have so much lined up for you in our bulletin tonight, but first, the highlights. Tonight, several media stakeholders condemned Trade Cabinet Secretary Moses Kuria's remarks made both online and offline.
Kutoka leo hata sio kesho, idara yote ya serikali nitaona imeweka advertisement kwa nation media. Ujihesabu kwa nyumbani.
With some asking the president to state the government's official position on the matter. The Communication Authority now says it was difficult to monitor activities at a media house run by controversial preacher Paul Mackenzie.
If Times TV were compliant to operate, they are not stopped from airing content from other content service providers.
Tonight, we tell you how one woman has taken the war on stigmatization over sickle cell anemia in her own stride, despite the difficulties she has undergone from the disease.
Sasa mtu anashangaa, unamsaidia na nini? Kama ni watoto haumpati, wewe tu ni mgonjwa, you are a liability.
Well, my name is Dennis Otieno. Our sign language interpreter is Catherine Simaloy. Welcome to the broadcast. Now we start off our bulletin tonight on a tragic note where a three-story building has collapsed in Murang'a near Sagana Stage as construction was still ongoing. At the moment, 3 people have been rescued alive from the scene and rushed to Murang'a General Hospital, but it is alleged that securing the scene. Well, our reporters are still on ground. They're following up closely on that developing story. They will be updating us further as the bulletin progresses. But moving on, Health Cabinet Secretary Susan Nakumencha has ordered the immediate closure of 6 health facilities and the suspension of all NHIF branch managers in those areas following a recently exposed money embezzlement scandal involving NHIF staff and health facilities. The CS has also ordered the Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentist Council, alongside the Pharmacy and Poisons Board, to embark on an investigation into the matter within the next 48 hours.
In the aftermath of a shocking media expose on embezzlement, 6 health facilities involved in the scheme have 24 hours to vacate their premises and transfer their inpatients to neighboring health facilities.
I hereby also instruct the Kenya Medical Practitioner and Dentist Council, the Pharmacy and Poisons Board, to commence investigations immediately and conclude within 48 hours on the following facilities: J. Kim Medical Center in Meru Central, St. Peter's Orthopedic and Surgical Hospital in Kiambu County, Afya Bora Hospital in Mwea Kirinyaga, Joy Nursing and Maternity Hospital in Malewa Street, Kamukunji, Afya Bora Hospital Annex in Wanguru, Mwea, J. Kim Hospital, Ngupu, Imenti South, Beirut Pharmacy and Medical Center, and Amal Hospital Limited.
The CS has also ordered the immediate suspension of all the NHIF branch managers in those areas. The Health Fund will also embark on a payment verification exercise across the country
to ensure that facilities suspected of these ills do not continue siphoning resources from patients and governments. I hereby direct that all branch managers for NHIF in the affected areas be suspended immediately pending investigations. I wish to restate that beyond verifying current outstanding payments, we are embarking on a verification exercise of all payments across the country to flag out any inconsistencies that may point to abuse of resources and theft.
NHIF staff will also be subjected to a lifestyle audit that will commence this month and will continue progressively to the end of the year. The facilities will remain closed until the conclusion of the investigations, with those found culpable facing serious legal action. Zainab Mohammed, T47.
Well, thank you, Zainab Mohammed, for that report. Meanwhile, as the tussle in Jubilee Party leadership widens, the Jeremiah Kioni-led faction can now breathe a sigh of relief after the political party's dispute tribunal quashed the decision for the party to exit the Azimio coalition. Our reporter Flora Limuki has an insight to that story.
The drama and intrigues within the former ruling party, Jubilee, show no sign of abating. The latest being the move by the political party's dispute tribunal, ordering the rival faction led by Yala MP Kanini Kega to halt their plans until the dispute before the tribunal is resolved. This is after a successful petition by a rival splinter group. This move gives a temporary face-saving despite to the splinter group fronted by Jeremiah Kioni and David Murathe, who claim that the Kanini Kega faction is seeking to withdraw the party from Azimio coalition and to hold a special national delegates convention on 22nd July.
Sisi ni watu watulivu. Tulie. Na tunataka amani.
All this coming within the backdrop of shake-ups, defections and exits from the Azimio coalition after the August 2022 general election. All eyes now rest on the tribunal's determination of the cases, which will either signify the end to the saga or yet another twist in the tale of the once great Jubilee Party. Flora Limuki, TV47.
Now, this week at the floor of Kenya's parliament, a fierce scene is expected as the finance bill is set for its third reading. The bill, which is already amended, could sail through and wait for President Ruto to assent to it. The bill, which could then become an act, will be effective July, with some proposals that will become new taxes. Tonight, Moige William takes us through on the possible changes and deductions from your income.
The Finance Bill 2023, which was amended by the National Assembly Finance and Planning Committee, tabled on Tuesday last week, seeks to raise 311 billion shillings, which is 100 billion higher than the initial bill. And in the proposals by the William Ruto government, tax collection will go up by 17% if it manages to weather the fierce barrage of debate in Parliament. Come the 1st of July, again, if President William Ruto will assent to the bill, new tax measures will include SMEs that make between 1 million shillings and 25 million shillings will be required to pay 3% on all the money derived from the sales made. Content creators earning from different online platforms to pay 5% withholding tax adjusted from 15% on all money they make from digital content. Also, a tax measure that has brought about hue and cry among a majority of Kenyans is the prices of petroleum, which is expected to rise and the probable effects on basic commodities prices at an upward trajectory. This is after the Planning and Finance Committee decided to amend the increase of VAT on petroleum to increase to 16% from 8%. High-income earners will also see increased taxes on their gross salaries, where persons taking home 500,000 shillings and 800,000 shillings will be taxed at 32.5%, and for those with an income above 800,000 shillings will have to pay 35% tax. Not forgetting the much-debated 1.5% monthly housing levy deducted on gross monthly pay and 2.75% deduction on gross pay for NHIF. Kenya Revenue Authority will be after the mileage allowance that is above the tax-free mileage allowance as approved by the Automobile Association of Kenya. Excise duty on betting, on the other hand, will be increased to 12.5%. 15% withholding tax on fees charged on advertisements for alcoholic beverages, betting, gaming, lotteries and prize competitions in media, including television and newspapers. The price of sugar and other commodities is likely to be affected, with proposals to have importers of sugar, powdered juice, furniture, plastic and rubber products, paper and paper products, safety matches, particle boards and plywood, among other goods of timber custom duties increased to between 10% and 30%. Moige William, TV47.
Well, thank you, Moige William, for that report. Meanwhile, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has distanced the government from the recent controversial remarks about the media by Trade and Industry Cabinet Secretary Moses Kuria, stating that the comments do not represent the official position of the Kenya Kwanza government. The DP spoke even as the controversy rages over CS Kuria's remarks.
I want to assure you, the nation newspapers, I don't want, whereas I agree with Moses Kuria that you have become rogue and you are part of the Azimio brigade of trying to bring down the government, I don't agree with what he has suggested, that we stop advertising with you. We shouldn't, because we are democracy and we should be able to allow you to continue doing your job.
Now, the Senate ad hoc committee probing the Shakahola massacre today grilled the Communication Authority Director as General Ezra Chiloba on the presence of the controversial Pastor Mackenzie's content on television and online. Meanwhile, the third phase of post-mortem exercise on corpses found in Shakahola Forest was conducted in Malindi. Nelly Lusige reports.
It was the turn of Communications Authority Director General Ezra Chiloba to appear before the Senator Danson Mungatana-led ad hoc committee probing the Shakahola saga, with explaining the religious programming of Pastor Mackenzie's content on Kenya's broadcast and online landscape. The DJ was more than armed with answers for the committee members.
So in terms of ownership, legally speaking, Times TV is still owned by Mackenzie, legally speaking, and World Evangelism is owned by Ezekiel Odero. If Times TV were compliant to operate, they are not stopped from airing content from other content service providers.
Chiloba revealed that prior to 2022, the communication could not monitor content on every station licensed due to lack of capacity to do so. However, he raised the need to regulate religious programming.
Yeah, we're dealing with Mackenzie. What about others? And you've alluded to that. And that's exactly the challenge of this particular space, where information is churned every day, and there are tools to churn that information every day.
Mackenzie was traced using his mobile phone, noting that the controversial preacher had 6 lines registered to him. Further, the committee was informed that he had 2 different national identity cards.
Mackenzie was issued with second generation ID card, where he also changed his date of birth from 1976 to 1973.
Who voted Mackenzie for the second ID and who approved both? Because they are parts of this country. To get an ID is like going to hell and coming back.
Even as the probe continues to try and unearth what might have happened at the Shakahola forest, in Malindi, the third phase of the post-mortem exercise was conducted today in a bid to ease congestion of bodies at Malindi Sub-County Hospital mortuary. Nelly Lusige, TV47.
Now, from the probe of the Shakahola massacre to rage over alleged blocked opportunities of businesses, and the streets of Naivasha town were this Monday the scene of protests after hundreds of local youth stormed the streets demanding for job opportunities ahead of the World Rally Championships slated to kick off on Thursday. The youth believe they have been unfairly locked out of lucrative opportunities to make a killing from the international event and demand to change this. Our reporter Willie Dennis Njiru with this story.
Situation aswa earlier today in Naivasha CBD, as hundreds of furious youth demonstrated in the town streets.
Si hakuna venye tutaruhusu watu wakuje wachukue makazi, wakaweza kupatia vijana wetu hapa kazi, na ila hali hatusaidiki. Lazima vijana wasaidike kwa njia yoyote, hata kama ni kusupply maji ama wapatie watu kazi mzuri kuliko kutoa watu huko nje bila kulipishwa na kuumiza watu. Lazima wapewe haki yao.
The youth are feeling sidelined from the opportunity to capitalize on the upcoming WRC event this Thursday.
Hatuoni impact ya WRC kama sisi wenyewe tuko hizo kazi. Na if kama president amesema, sidhani kuna mtu mwenye kwa babu yeye. So hakikisha tumepata hizo kazi. Ambacho tumepata hizo kazi.
The irate youth have vowed to soldier on with the demonstration in subsequent days before the rally kicks off unless they get the opportunity they want.
Wahakikishe ya kwamba wamekuja kwa ground. Waongea na sisi kama vijana. Tujue those opportunities ziko wapi. Kwa sababu kama hawatakuja kwa ground, tutaandamana mpaka hiyo WC hapa.
The demonstrations brought to a halt traffic in and out of the transit town before police moved in and dispersed them with tear gas. During his Naivasha tour last Wednesday, President William Ruto requested the CS Sports Ababu Namwamba to factor in job opportunity slots for the youth following an appeal by youth groups during the tour.
Nitamwambia waziri wetu Bwana Ababu Namwamba kwamba watu wa Nakuru asitoe watu Nairobi, asilete watu kutoka Kakamega ama Eldoret, watu wa Naivasha wawe mstari ya mbele kuendesha hiyo mambo ya World Rally Championship. Tumekubaliana? Mnasema tuanze na vijana wa hapa? Si mimi nimesikia. Mkiona wasipofanya vile nitawaambia, muwaishtaki kwangu, nitawachapa kiboko.
Reporting for TV 47 from Naivasha in Nakuru County, I'm Willie Dennis Njiru.
Now, the Association of Real Estate Stakeholders has promised to spare no effort in weeding out rogue real estate officers. Speaking during the official launch of their office in Ruiru, they have reiterated that this is a new beginning, calling upon restoration of confidence from investors.
At the heart of every real estate investor is the confidence for protection of their property. And this is exactly what the Association of Real Estate Stakeholders has promised today to their members.
We are the first people to be affected. When any company fails, we are the first people to be affected. So we know the law companies, and those companies, we are not going to register them. Let it be known clearly. We are not going to register them in our association because we are restoring the confidence, and we cannot restore confidence when we have still law company between us.
After a heated public debate over rogue officers in the real estate fraternity, the association has announced new plans to introduce a strong regulation mechanism that will restore sanity in the sector. The association has expressed its willingness in working with other regulatory boards and all levels of government as a way of streamlining the sector through introduction of certificates and new regulations to the members so as to distinguish them from fake and unscrupulous individuals.
And already we are doing the vetting. All companies are being vetted to be pre-qualified to be part of the members. Even right now, all of us are under probation. But by August, we know we'll have cleared with probation period and verified the rogue members who will not allow to be part of the association.
Concerning their housing program championed by the national government, the association has said they are ready to collaborate with the national government in ensuring every Kenyan has a roof over their head.
Our approach of achieving association's goals shall harmoniously incorporate all relevant bodies and regulators in our undertaking. We hope to minimize perceptions that may be interpreted otherwise to mean that the association is competing with already existing bodies or authorities.
The real estate sector has been a key player in the growth of the economy with a contribution of 10.5% gross domestic product annually. Jackson Chacha, TV 47.
I declare there shall be hope.
The Kenya Water and Sanitation International Conference and Exhibition 2023 is currently underway in Mombasa. Stakeholders will share insights on smart technologies that can and should be used to manage water and sanitation activities to serve Kenya's population during the 4-day event. Water and Sanitation CS Alice Wahome acknowledges that over the years, the government has shown efforts to improve sanitation by introducing ministries dedicated to the environment. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua officially launched the conference.
William Ruto is the President of the Republic of Kenya. He defeated you and your project, and there's nothing you can do about it.
While opening the Kenya Water and Sanitation International Conference and Exhibition 2023 in Mombasa, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has once again defended the government over the state of the nation, adding that his administration is doing the best possible to tackle the high cost of living.
The dollar was going to 140, 141, 145, headed to 150 shillings per dollar. Had President William Ruto and his government not intervened through a government-to-government arrangement where we get fuel on a 6-month credit period, the dollar today would be at 200 shillings.
Gachagua lauds various measures already put in place by the government, which he says will bear fruits in the coming days.
This administration has made deliberate plans to reach out to investors on the public-private partnership model to harness resources from everywhere in the world to come here and sink boreholes, build water ponds, build small dams, and build mega dams for the purposes of making water available to every Kenyan.
The DP was dismissive of the plans to begin the nationwide protest by Azimio la Umoja leaders, declaring that no amount of demonstrations will shake the Kenya Kwanza government.
No amount of wearing sufurias on the head will distract President William Ruto from service delivery. The president has a mandate from the people of Kenya to turn around their lives. The president has a social contract of 5 years to improve the economy of this country, restore the dignity of the Kenyan people, put money into people's pockets, and uplift their standards of living.
The conference, which has brought together stakeholders in the water service system, is objective to explore smart technologies that should be used to manage water and sanitation activities to serve Kenya's population, promote healthy living standards, reduce water scarcity and food security through irrigation projects. Professor Simon Gesharo, serving as the Water Services Regulatory Board Chair, however, states that there appears a positive coordination among water service providers, which is key to the success of water services sector objectives.
The board takes cognizance of governance assessment of water service providers in this edition. Good governance in the water sector must inculcate sound political, socio-economic and administrative systems that promote prudent use of water resources.
Technologies adopted include solarizing pumping systems, mobile meter reading to eliminate errors, and increase billing efficiencies, use of modern leak detection methods to reduce water loss. Paul Monio, TV 47, Mombasa.
Well, thank you, Paul Monio, for that report. Meanwhile, several media stakeholders have reprimanded Trade Cabinet Secretary Moses Kuria over his utterances directed towards local media. The Trade CS made the remarks after an investigative piece revealed that his ministry could be behind one of the biggest heists in the President William Ruto's months-old administration. Take a look.
The Kenya Union of Journalists, KUJ, has called on President William Ruto to take action against Trade Cabinet Secretary Moses Kuria following accusations of discrediting the media. In a statement released today, the union urged the president to control his allies, just as he had passionately fought against illicit brews and drug abuse. The KUJ has demanded an apology from both the cabinet secretary and the government, emphasizing the media's duty to hold the state accountable. The Media Council of Kenya, MCK, and the Kenya Editors Guild have also issued statements demanding an apology from Moses Kuria while condemning his attempts to censor the media. The MCK has called on the government to address the allegations against the media as a way of promoting balanced news coverage. KUJ has strongly criticized Kuria and Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua's response to media exposés, questioning their commitment to the country's best interests. CS Kuria, while openly attacking a local media house, further threatened consequences for any government department found advertising with it, while also posting an insulting tweet about the media house's founder and expressing indifference towards obituaries posted by them. Kuria's criticism stems from a report by the Nation Media Group linking his ministry to a 6 billion edible oil scandal. Joash Onsare, TV 47.
Now, police officers in Karori Sub-County, Kiambu County, have recovered a heap of Kenya Power cables and vandalized transformers that were dismantled into cells at a home in Kianjogu village, which was believed to be a compound of pig farming. Wycliffe Ogola, Secretary Administration at Ministry of Energy, says the vandalism has costed the Kenya Power Company millions of shillings in losses, where there have been an outcry of power outage from members of public in Kiambu County. The recovery was valued at approximately 11 million shillings. Kiambu County Police Commander Parminus Kioi says they have arrested one suspect and they are pursuing other suspects in Limuru and Thika, as well as other constituencies which have been in the recent past being the most affected areas.
These are very critical aspects of energy infrastructure, the transformers, the conduit wires, and many others. While on this, I want to thank the Kiambu County Security Intelligence Committee, who, through intelligence information from members of the public, responded very, very fast to impound the various parts of energy infrastructures that we have here, particularly the ones that convey electricity. I want to give a strict warning to those who are involved in such illegal and criminal activities. We have the 42 transformers that have been vandalized in Kiambu County.
I've been following this matter for quite some time. And mine is only to tell these guys who are dealing with this kind of menace, we have no space for them in Kiambu. And we are ready for them. And even now, as we are talking, we are following another information within an area which I don't want to mention until when we catch up with them. We have already arrested one suspect, and we are also looking for the others. And it's good for them to surrender. They are not going anywhere. We are in Kenya, and we have all the mechanism of getting.
Now, despite the western parts of Kenya and Nyanza being termed as regions mostly affected by sickle cell anemia in the country, there are successful stories to tell on survivors of the disease who have had an impact in the society in the presence of stigmatization. Our reporter Wanji Sostin interacted with Jacinta Ochieng, a 42-year-old woman who was forced to quit her marriage twice due to stigmatization and medical expenses.
I'm happy to be alive today. Sai niko 42 years. Nikikuwa around 7 years, I almost died. Nikakuja nikakuwa high school. High school nikaadmitiwa. Ile time nilitoanga damu. Hiyo ndio sasa siku hata mimi mwenyewe nilikuwa najua sita make it.
Sickle cell anemia has been a menace to most of Nyanza and western part of Kenya residents, according to the Minister of Health. Jacinta Ochieng, a 42-year-old woman who resides in Bungoma town, has turned out to be the champion fighting the disease. She narrates how lack of information from her family about the disease was a challenge.
Every time nilikuwa nikifaint, nitakuwa transfused. So mama yangu alikuwa anaishi na ile fear, watu wanamuuliza nini mbaya ama ulikosea mtu, mbona mtoto wako ako hivyo. From then, alikuwa kama hajawahi jua exactly what is happening to me.
After quitting her second marriage in 2019, she started being a champion of blood donation to save other people affected by the disease and who need blood frequently. She says that lacking a child and being sickly were the major reasons why she quit her marriage.
I had a relationship ikaisha because of that. I had a second marriage ikaisha because of that. I could not get kids. I was sick all the time, mimi ni mgonjwa all the time. I'm in and out of hospital. So you see, hata mtu anachoka, hata huyu mwanaume anachoka, you see.
According to Bungoma Referral Hospital Pediatrics in Church, Dr. Dickens Lubanga, Women suffering from the disease can serve, but only with the strict measures.
There are those ones who have had even families. We are talking about some who have had children. Even there are like 4 cases I have with the mothers with more than 3 children at a time. But we also know that those mothers will have challenges in terms of getting a child, and this can also happen in those children or with those people who have suffered from sickle cell anemia. So, but we're encouraging them that you need, the moment you find out that you are pregnant, you need to start your journey with an obstetrician.
Behind her efforts to sensitize the community about the disease, there is still a lot of myths and stigmatization that come with living with the condition in the country.
I've been called Tasa so many times, even with my friends. Even with my friends, wanakuita Tasa because they don't know what you're passing through. A lot of stigma ndio inaua watu huku kwa communities zetu, because mtu akifeel hiyo stigma, if you are stigmatized, you can't come out.
Jacinta is healthy from her outlook, remains hardworking despite the condition, and she has a kiosk at the heart of Bungoma town where she does fashion and design.
Sasa naweza fanya kazi yangu vizuri, sasa I'm a fashion designer, sasa naweza fungua duka yangu asubuhi, nifanye kazi yangu by jioni, bora ni make sure I'm warm, ni make sure nimekula, ni make sure I'm taking my folic. By the way, mimi natumia folic na ferrous, imenisaidia sana. Apart from your blood transfusion.
Blood screening in Bungoma County has remained to be a big challenge against dealing with the sickle cell anemia. Dr. Lubanga said that despite having a blood bank around, they still rely on other counties for screening, urging the national government to intervene.
The problem has not yet been solved in Bungoma. Our satellite blood center is not able to do screening for blood, so we have to still send blood to Eldoret so that it's screened from Moitish and Faralos or from Kisumu, where they have a regional blood transfusion. That's why we really wish that the government considers having a fully fledged regional blood transfusion center in Bungoma to cater for the increased cases of blood and the need for blood that we have in Bungoma County.
Wanji Sostin, TV47, Bungoma.
Quite a motivating story by Jacinta Ochieng, done by our very own, that is our very own reporter from the Western region. Now, it is on that note that we'll do a short break, but don't go too far. We'll be right back.
You are watching TV47, the home of untold stories. Radio 47, tuko nawe mchana kutwa na usiku kucha.
For the biggest of guests, from politicians to entertainers to content creators to whichever kind of a person you want to think that you'd want to see on the show, this is the place to be. Dr. Funike tonight.
Each and every Wednesday. My name is DJ Lisney, not your ordinary DJ.
And of course, they call me the Eagle himself. Your host, Dr. Funike, is my name. Of course, every Wednesday at 7:30. See you then. Don't touch.
Make sure to join us.
Tell your landlord as well. Jua unalipia wa parent.
Sikose.
From politics, health, cooking, relationships, and entertainment, join Linda Alela every weekday from 6 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. only on Morning Cafe.
Your health is not just about going to the hospital. Your health is about prevention, it's about what you eat, it's about where you live. For this reason, the Body Garage Show exists.
The part of the brain
that deals with communication.
Called primary hypertension, which means that we don't find a reason for that.
Join me, Dr. Chepsi, every Thursday, 8 p.m.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Now let's continue with the bolstering of trade ties in the country. And the trade agreement between Kenya and the European Union are geared towards putting money in the pockets of Kenyan traders, according to the government. President William Ruto says the agreements put on track the bid to export Kenyan commodities to the EU market tax-free. Mike Agongo with the details.
Trade volumes between Kenya and the European Union (EU) are expected to drastically increase in the backdrop of the signing of a trade and economic agreement between the two. Speaking during the signing of the agreement at State House in Nairobi on Monday, President William Ruto said the deal will make Kenya a centerpiece of EU products in East Africa.
It will also provide new opportunities for Kenyan and European businesses, including those in the micro, small, and medium enterprise space. Even though the negotiations are now concluded, it is important to note that the chief negotiators will now lead their teams in finalizing the text and proceed to initiate the procedures that culminate in ratification and eventually entry into force of the agreement.
Over the past decades, the EU private sector has made available more than 1 billion euros of investments in Kenya.
The president said EU is a key Kenya trade partner after the World Bank, and the signing of the agreement represents a big opportunity for Kenya and her neighbors in East Africa.
And I want to commit to our EU friends that by you signing this agreement with Kenya, we also commit that we will work with our East African partner states. We will work with the 28 African states that are members of the tripartite free trade agreement.
With a view to food security, we agreed we would cooperate in the areas of agricultural transformation. We agreed we would exchange information on investment opportunities in the agricultural sector, including for smallholders.
He said the increase of trade volumes between Kenya and EU, which enjoys a population of over 5 million people, will create more job opportunities to expand revenue avenues and stimulate economic growth.
Kenya now has further impetus to tap into sustainable global value chains, invest in competitiveness for sustainable manufacture of high-value products, accelerate technology acquisition as well as innovation for product development.
The signing of the agreement follows on a series of meetings President William Ruto held with various EU representatives in Brussels in Belgium in March this year.
We look forward to this being an indication to the world that Kenya and the European Union stand shoulder to shoulder in as far as deepening trade, deepening investment, but at the same time strengthening our economic cooperation.
After the meetings, EU and Kenya representatives were mandated to expedite trade agreements. The agreement will see Kenya act as a headquarter for EU companies seeking to establish a presence in EAC, COMESA and SADC regions. Mike Kagwango, TV 47, Nairobi.
Now, Trans-Century Bank has obtained a court injunction halting its equity receivership, citing a breach of procedure over the hasty announcement amidst negotiations. TC Bank CEO Shaka Kariuki says the injunction stops any previous appointments and restrains Equity from performing any actions within the receiver capacity, arguing that the firm is already working on a turnaround strategy. He termed the move by Equity as mad and very ill-intended process. Now, Trans-Century Bank, which previously was in a partnership with the leading financial institution, came under fire after accruing a 4.8 billion shillings debt and missing a 2 billion shillings cash call attempt. Meanwhile, the Operation Linda Ugatuzi lobby group has threatened to take the government to court for allegedly retaining the bulk of healthcare budget at the national level. Professor Ogolla, who is the lobby group leader, has challenged President William Ruto's government to be sincere with Kenyans. Ogolla has also proposed that 80% of the healthcare budget be pushed to the county government to enable ordinary citizens access quality care.
Asking the national government that Operation Linda Ugatuzi is going to take them to court to explain why are they retaining 65% of the budget, yet health has been fully and 100% devolved. Want the government to ensure that before the bill is the budget is assented to, they make those changes and make the communication. If not, for us we go immediately, because we have already put down the chapters which are illegal in the budget. We have the chapters which are illegal in the finance bill. We'll go to court and we shall conjoin the budget plus the finance bill. We want to have 80% of healthcare budget coming to the county levels to ensure we can have medicine, we can have drugs. Because devolution in healthcare has only taken place by devolving positions, but not devolving resources.
Now, pastors, bishops, and church leaders have been urged to consider enrolling in Bible colleges and theology classes to ensure they lead Kenyans and faithfuls in a good direction. This comes at a time when the government has formed a task force to oversee sanity in churches to avoid cases as that of Shakahola. Kennedy Anaswa Muse, the founder of Angaza Bible College, said it has reached a time when church ministries need to have Bible knowledge in order to lead well. They were speaking during the graduation ceremony of Angaza Bible College in Donholm, where 8 students graduated with degrees, 6 honorarily, 22 given operating licenses as ministers of the gospel.
Sema ya kwamba Biblia inasema kwamba tuheshimu wale walio kwenye mamlaka. Na serikali yetu kuna watu ambao wako katika mamlaka. So sisi kama Angaza Bible and Training Institute tunaunga mkono serikali na kusema kwamba ni lazima na ni sharti watu wanaofanya kazi ya Mungu wakaweze kusoma ili wakaweze kupata maadili mazuri watakayofundisha na wengine, ili wasiweze kuwapotoza watu wengine, watu wapate maarifa mazuri ili kila mmoja aweze kukomaa katika neno la Mungu.
The government is really pushing towards the people having papers and also people achieving academically. We are living in a community whereby people are not supposed just to go and preach because of the gospel, or you say maybe God has called you, but the government is really going for those people who don't have papers. So my message to the country is that people without papers, or the pastors that are practicing without papers and without licenses, kindly join the colleges so that this one can help you to face even the government and to face the authorities.
Kwamba watu wengi wameangamia ni kwa sababu maarifa hawana. So Angaza tunataka kuwapatia tu maarifa ya kutumia maandiko.
Meanwhile, residents of Mashundwani village in Lamu County have complained about land grabbing by unknown persons. According to the residents, their land was grabbed after the owners moved out due to insecurity in the area. The residents now want the government to intervene in the matter and resolve the dispute so that they can get permanent residence.
Hii plot hapa tulikuja ikosa kwa sababu ukosefu wa usalama hapa kwa maeneo ya mashambani. Wakati
wenyewe waliozaliwa hapa hawana faida yoyote ya Mashundwani. Hawana kusomesha watoto, hawana kupata dawa, hawana kufaidika na huu mji. Kwa sababu matajiri wote wameshika huu mji na wametoa watoto didi na kula kitu wamefanya. Sisi maskini twende wapi? Maskini kama sisi wagonjwa, wengine wako vitandani, wengine wamekufa, wengine watoto maskini.
Ni wakati wa mashafu bakahama. Lakini mimi sasa hivi naishi hapa kuna nchi nijua nyumba yangu hata iko pale pale. Sasa wasiwasi wetu sisi tunaona kwamba kwa yani sisi hatuna nguvu za kupigana na kupekana mahakamani.
Haki yangu hapa nipate kwa sababu mama yangu aliweza kuishi hapa na kaziko hapa mama yake baba yangu. Mimi sasa hii ni kitukuu, lakini ninavujivunia nipate haki yangu hapa mimi bila tatizo kwa sababu mimi ni mke.
Women legislators have intensified campaigns to bring to an end teenage pregnancies and ensure girls are able to complete their studies. Speaking during a global appeal soccer tournament in Kirinyaga County, Women representatives from Bomet and Kirinyaga counties said they will deal with those who impregnate school children and destroy their education. Further, Kirinyaga woman representative Njeri Maina and her Bomet counterpart Lynette Toto have lauded the government for supporting such initiatives.
Katika hiyo tournament, there is one thing munajaribu kuaddress, teenage pregnancies. Hapo kwa teenage pregnancies, wacha niambie wale vijana na wanaume wako hapa. Saa zingine munadanganya hao wasichana kwa sababu wanatafuta hizi sanitary towels. Munawadanganya, munaingia pale huko nyuma kidogo kidogo, msichana ameshindwa kumaliza shule. Sisi tunasema na mheshimiwa Gasheri, tunataka kuona hawa wasichana wote wamekuwa viongozi.
Lazima tushikilie wasichana wetu, na nimeona bajeti ambayo imewekwa na serikali 940 million ili tukue tunaweza kupatiana free sanitary towels to all our girls ili waweze kujikimu na kuendelea na masomo. Tumesema hakuna mtoto ambaye msichana atabaki ama akose kuenda shule manake hana access to sanitary towels.
Pata tena fursa ya kuwaongelesha wanafunzi kwamba watie bidii wakiwa shuleni, kwa kuwa hakuna kitu haiwezekani. Tunataka kushukuru tena Mheshimiwa Gloria ambaye ameweza kuleta sanitary pads. Tumeweza kupeana wazizi wote, tunajua hiyo ni tatizo ambao wasichana wetu wanapitia wakiwa shule.
Now it's time to take to the fields and shift focus to the sports news, where the National Committee of Kenya, NOC, Monday afternoon announced its support for the women's national volleyball team, Malkia Strikers, as they embark on their road to the 2024 Paris Olympics. NOC offered a 5.4 million shillings grant to Malkia Strikers in November last year to boost their efforts in qualifying and returning to the Olympic stage, while the 2-year solidarity grant is expected to continue until the team secures qualifications for the Games. To kickstart their journey, Malkia Strikers will travel to Rabat, Morocco for specialized training from Brazilian coaches before traveling to France for the 2023 FIVB Challenger Cup, thereafter heading to Yaoundé, Cameroon to compete in the Africa Cup of Nations. The Africa Cup of Nations will be used to decide Africa's top team, which will then qualify into the Paris 2024 Olympics.
The Olympic Committee will be supporting the local travel on 3 areas. The first one will be providing transport allowance, because obviously the players need to pay for their transport to come and train on a daily basis. Number 2, in terms of the facilities, payment for the facilities where the team will be training. And number 3, which is still in discussion, the equipment requirements, whether it will be the balls or what other technical equipment requirement will be provided. And this is, like you've stated, to be able to catch up with time.
Actually enhancing their support. They are going to buy air tickets, round air tickets from here to Morocco, to France, to Cameroon and back. Okay, it's for a few people. It will be mainly for the core team and the coaches, but that is a big thing that deserves what? So that will make it easier, even as we negotiate, as NOC and ourselves negotiate with the government for funding. Now at least our expectations, our request goes lower, and it's more likely to go through.
And from the preparations of Malkia Strikers to matters boxing in the grassroots, residents of Siaya town thronged the Ahindi Gardens to witness a thrilling boxing extravaganza that brought together fighters from Nyanza and Western regions. The event that brought together over 50 boxers from 7 counties saw a total of 27 bouts being staged. However, no points were awarded, with the aim of raising awareness over boxing as a sport. According to the technical director of the Boxing Association of Kenya, Albert Matitio, most Kenyans have complained over the state of boxing in the country and hence the need to start the initiative. Plans are underway from the organizers of the event to host such tournaments after every 2 to 3 weeks in different counties, as they called on the county government, or rather the county governments, to support the initiatives and help nurture boxing talent in the grassroots.
Kunacha youth, sana youth and juniors wakija juu. Watu wanalia boxing imeisha Kenya, boxing haijaisha. Talent ziko. Sasa vijana wadogo tunataka tuone namna gani ambayo wanaweza saidika. Tunataka usaidizi wa sponsorship kutoka county, because kama Kisumu na represent Kisumu County nzima, Siaya sahi Siaya wana represent Siaya, na jina ya Siaya County ndio inaendelea. Hatupati chochote kutoka kwa hao. Tunataka kama inawezekana watusaidie sisi tuilime jina yao.
Now, the Africa Schools Volleyball Champions Kwantanze School coach Justin Kigwari has expressed his worry over the possibilities of his team failing to perform well in various competitions this year. Kigwari, who led the team to clinch the East African Secondary Schools Competitions trophy 6 times, is disturbed because most of his players were in Form 4 and have now completed school, leaving him with young, inexperienced players. The coach is only optimistic of reaching the county levels competition as he works on rebuilding his squad. He, however, remains unhappy with the quality of competitors for his team, citing forfeited matches at the zonal competition.
Timu najua mimi kazi yangu wakishamaliza mwaka wa 4 na waachilia. Kwa hivyo wamemaliza wengi na kwa hivyo wale wamesalia ni wale tu wanaanza kujifunza basics. Kwa hivyo sasa kuna mwingine kama Korosi ambaye kwa hakika service yake hata ibuki nyavu. Mwingine kama Abigail najua kwamba yeye service yake pia nayo haibuki. Kwa hivyo sasa naona nina wengi pale. Nina wengi Mbeke, niko na Mbeke pia Wavinya naye pia ambaye hajajua hata kuhesabu hatua. Kwa hivyo mpaka sasa niangalie kama nitawafunzaji ndio katika kiwango cha county pale tuweze kuwa na angaa mchezo ambao unaweza kufika pale semifinali katika kiwango cha county. Tujaweza kuwa wapinzani katika kiwango hichi cha kata, manake wote wametoroka. Kadhalika nasikia wamekataa kuja, Chamudheke wamekataa kuja, wameingia kule mashambani na msituni. Lakini tunangojea wale wa sub county sasa wiki ijayo tujue itakuwaje. Hata hivyo timu ni chipukizi sana, tunatumia form 1